All right, so we're doing this remotely per the governor allowing us the COVID-19 pandemic situation. We're going to have it hold remotely. Do we do the Pledge of Allegiance and then go into roll call?
Okay.
Yes.
Ready? I pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
One
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
God, indivisible,
with liberty
with liberty
and
justice.
and justice
for all.
for all. We need a cadence. Kevin, can we get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Pacheco present. Member Cahill.
Here.
Member Frias.
Present.
Member Leone. Member Davis. Vice President Garcia.
Present.
President Green.
Present.
And Dr. Whalen.
All right. First order of business. Did we have any public comments come in? I didn't see any emails.
I did not see any.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the approval of the December 7th regular meeting minutes. If we can get a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right. Motion made by member Garcia, second by member Cahill for the approval of the December 7th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's do a roll call here. Pacheco, yes. Cahill,
Yes.
Frias,
Yes.
Leone, Member Davis, Vice President Garcia,
Yes.
President Green.
I approve.
All right.
All right. Thank you. First report we have is Arrow report. Do we have an update?
We don't have an update since the last one in December. My next meeting is this month, January 25th.
Okay. Sounds good. Superintendent report.
Thank you, President Green, members of the board. In addition to our monthly financials this evening, I went to invite Mr. Scott Foreman, our athletic director and dean here at Heritage Middle School, to provide a short presentation on the status of our extracurriculars. It's been an unusual year, as you know, and he's here to provide an update on where we stand given the governor's order for Tier 3 mitigations and the IESA. So, can everybody
Good
see
evening,
the
everybody.
PowerPoint?
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
it's coming through.
Okay, go ahead, Scott.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. We can go to the second slide. All right, so we are part of the IESA. In 2019, we rejoined the IESA from, we were there for many years, and then we decided to get out of the IESA for some reasons I don't remember. So we joined once again, and the purpose of joining the IESA was an opportunity for our school to participate in the state playoff tournament. As a governing body, the IESA has the bylaws and establishes all governing rules for the members of interscholastic activities and athletics at our grade levels. So what that pretty much means is anything that we do as a school, as part of the IESA, we have to abide by their rules and any provision or anything that they pretty much want us to do at this point. Okay, so it's a good thing to be in. I really do think the IESA has a great membership, but personally, I wish we would have more schools in it at this point. Okay, can we go to the next slide, Dr. William? All right, so as we all know, the global pandemic has forced major changes in all the ways that, we've done everything, including athletics. The ISA has published frequent updates based on the Illinois Department of Public Health guidelines regarding which middle school sports would be allowed to hold the season and which would not. We were luckily able to have girls softball as well as co-ed cross country and in the fall because they were considered low risk sports. They're also outside, which made it really nice to hold practices, and everyone felt more than safe at most times. Following the IESA and the Department of Public Health guidelines, we offer those sports, and they're very successful. We didn't have any COVID incidences, and everybody was healthy and safe. Although a number of our school districts, other school districts elected not to hold any sports, 50 of those schools from the ISA dropped out of baseball and softball, and 180 schools chose not to participate in cross country, which is a huge number. However, we did compete against a few schools from the far south suburbs, examples like Homer Glen, Country Club Hills, Lansing, Mokina, and Frankfurt, which was very nice that we had those competitions this year. Please change slides. Okay, so now the ISA must follow the Illinois Department of Public Health and Governor Pritzker's guidelines at this point. As a result, the current Tier 3 mitigation plan in the place, we have the following schedules for middle school sports have really been on hold. Today, January 4th, boys basketball is still on hold. Next week, we are anticipating January 11th, girls volleyball will be on hold. If the boys in basketball and girls volleyball are not allowed to start in January, it's not been yet determined what would happen. The ISA board of directors would have to meet and produce a plan. Once the state gives us the green light to resume sports, then the ISA can make a decision on seasons, dates if needed. The ISA will not establish new season dates for boys basketball and girls volleyball if we lose those seasons, unfortunately. So that is a big problem because we're losing time as the school year continues. Please change slides. So now boys basketball, girls basketball. Under Tier 3 mitigation, only virtual workouts are allowed. And we did some contact days with girls volleyball. Boys basketball, we didn't have a coach at that time, but we are working on, as you know, to establish a coach. Once Tier 3 mitigations are removed, boys and girls basketball are still considered high-risk sports at this time. When the governor and the Illinois Department of Public Health lowers current restrictions, boys and girls basketball can only work out at this point. They cannot scrimmage. They can only do workouts. They can run the gym. They can do sprints, but unfortunately, they're not even able to scrimmage at this point, which is really tough. Girls basketball is scheduled to begin March 5th. So we are hoping that the mitigations as well as the high risk status of basketball will change at this point. And we're just waiting to see what happens. And that's the whole state as well as the Illinois High School Association. Please, new slide, Dr. Whalen. Okay, girls volleyball is under Tier 3 mitigation for only virtual workouts are allowed as well. Tier 3 mitigations are removed from girls volleyball. It's still considered a medium risk sport, which means girls volleyball will be only able to practice and scrimmage, but they still cannot play games against other teams. Until that gets changed to a lower risk sport, our kids are only going to be able to scrimmage and practice against each other. Virtual practices began on December 1st. We had 17 girls participate in the virtual volleyball. Attendance was a little off and on, but we had a good participation from the girls as well as a good feedback from them at that point. Please, next slide. All right, currently we are getting ready for Scholastic Bowl. Scholastic Bowl will be a virtual Scholastic Bowl, it looks like at this point. We can adjust to in-person if the time comes and the state allows us to. Scholastic Bowl starts at the end of January. The season with sectional tournament should end May 3rd. We'll not go any past that time. Looking forward to seeing how we can do it virtually. There's a program right now that we're working with the IESA to get for our school, in which we'll be able to do it virtually. Next slide, please. Cheerleading and co-ed wrestling. Cheerleading has been postponed and no date has been issued for when cheerleading can continue. Wrestling is scheduled to take place April 5th and through May 30th. Unfortunately, wrestling is a high-risk sport also. So at this point, this is very tentative. Cheerleading, we're still waiting to see what happens with that. The ISA governing body has not come together to come up with a date if that can continue as well. Go to the next slide, please. Co-ed softball, boys volleyball, and boys and girls soccer. Co-ed softball, boys volleyball, and boys and girls soccer are non-IESA sports. They are conference sports. Our conference will determine if we play these sports at a later date. Today, the conference asked all schools if they were going to compete in any athletics for the rest of the school year. I did let them know that we did plan on it. If that changes tonight, you will have to let me know. I will have that information from the other schools hopefully next week. Volleyball and soccer are medium risk sports and can only scrimmage and not play games at this point unless something changes. If they become lower risk sports through the Illinois Department of Public Health. Co-ed softball is a low risk sport and can play currently if we have teams to play. And that's a question we'll find out hopefully next week after everybody answers those questions from the conference. Next slide, please. Format for future upcoming sports. At some point, if the ISA indicates seasons can begin, basketball and volleyball teams will be only limited to a maximum of 15 games for the season. Schools are allowed or will have to follow all guidelines from the all sports policy. And we'll show that to you later if we have time. If an Illinois COVID region or county is placed in a phase 3 or lower of the governor's restore plan, all sports for that school for all the schools in the region or county will be suspended or canceled. Spectators and group gatherings subject to the Illinois Department of Public Health guidelines during this time all spectators would be limited to no more than what the capacity of the building is. And that would most likely be no spectators at this time. Regular season play should be limited to within conference. Other schools in the same general geographical area, approximately 30 miles away, or the EMS region only. So that does limit the teams we can play. So it does limit, especially with the time of trying to find games if we do get to play and we don't have a conference. Many schools have opted out to not play, and it does make it challenging, but there are schools out there who are still looking for games. So we'll see what happens as soon as we can find out. And the state lets us do these things. E-learning students should be eligible to provide. E-learning students are eligible provided the local district allows their participation. Current IHSA Phase 4 return to play guidelines in place for all the sports. So once we do continue, if we are in remote, our kids can play just based on our local district. And I don't think that would be a problem. We still check grades. The ISA will not have any athletics or activities in June. That was stated in a communication in December. So it does limit time also. We're coming down to the time where there will be no time for athletics, unfortunately. And cross our fingers, hopefully something changes. Okay, next slide, please. Now the all sports policy, if you would like to click that, Dr. Whalen. And this is from the Illinois Department of Public Health. I don't know if we can get to it, Dr. Whalen, or not. Okay. So as you see on the screen right now, higher risk sports, you have basketball, boxing, lacrosse, ultimate frisbee. What this is pretty much saying is a higher risk sport is only eligible to right now do workouts. They can't do anything other than work out. Medium, moderate risk sports such as volleyball, soccer, what this form is really saying is that they can do scrimmaging, they can practice, but they can't play at this point. And then all lower risk sports, those are the sports that can practice and play competitions against other schools. So in this form, we have the link in this PowerPoint. We can keep it up after this, so if anybody wants to look through it, they're more than welcome to. This is it's tough because a lot of our sports right now are in higher risk or moderate risk sports. And we only really have one sport coming up in the spring, co-ed softball, that would be lower risk. So it's a tough time right now. Hopefully things change, like I said. All right, we can go back to our slideshow, Dr. Whalen. So moving forward, Heritage Middle School is ready to compete when the governor and the Illinois Department of Public Health lift restrictions. However, many schools and school districts have opted to not have athletics this school year, which makes it challenging. I'm willing to obviously work and get games or meets. I've worked on that for Scholastic Bowl today. There are a few schools that are actually competing, at least trying to. So some options. One option is we can start virtual practices. I think that would be a school board decision. Virtual practices would be kids are at home at their computers. They're learning the X's and O's. They're learning strategies, fundamentals of sport by watching it. They could also do some exercises to try to stay in shape. The coach could lead them through exercises, and that's going to be a school board decision, in my opinion. Practice only. I put practice only here is because most of our sports right now would be practice only at this point. Is that something the board would be willing to have our coaches do, just hold practices? I think our board should discuss that going further, because there could be a chance that all they would be able to do is practice and not compete in games.
I think, Mr. Foreman, we have actually talked about that quite a few times about the virtual practices. We're going on about 3 months of talking about that, and it has been a board action that we have talked that we would like to do so. So I don't know why that you're coming back and saying that would be a board action. So I think we need to.
I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, everybody needs to be on the same page, because
that's all.
Yeah.
My big thing is, I think it's important, if we're going to do virtual practices, it's important to understand that we had some spotty attendance with our volleyball. Not every kid was doing it who was signed up. They'd come on and off. So it is a challenge for our teachers or coaches also. But definitely willing to do it. I did talk to a basketball coach who's willing to do it. So, as well as my volleyball coaches, they're willing to start it. So that's not a problem. It just, I do think that decision, we all have to be on the same page on. Okay. And then finally, individual practices with coach if athletics is still in a high risk category. That's an option. If, for example, basketball is still a high risk and we are allowed to have 1 or 2 kids in a building at the time, the state has said that you could do individual practices with student athletes, maybe 15 minutes a pop, where they do workouts with the coach, then they rotate. That's something we can also do. Just some discussion for everyone. But it's been tough. I just hope this ends quickly for everyone. I hope we can get to games. Our kids are definitely in need to start getting to a more normal world at this point. So I appreciate everyone's time. Do we have any questions?
I was just curious, were you unable to secure a assistant coach for basketball?
That is correct. I do not have an assistant coach at this point.
Mr. Foreman, I'm wondering if we can post those that information you provided to us regarding the sports and the levels of risk, just because I know there's a lot of kids within the community who are unaware of what's going on within the IESA, and I think they'd like to get at least have some knowledge of the sports, just so they can look forward to. I understand this whole thing is just a waiting game. But I think it would be very useful to the parents and to the students to get an idea of what sports. I mean, we'd be likely to play once this whole thing moves forward. So I'm requesting that can be put on the athletic page, please, just so we can have more knowledge.
That's fine. Not a problem.
I agree.
Yeah, we definitely need to get more information out there and flood the airwaves and the pages, and anything that's related to SD 104 should have information related to what activities we have presently going on and what we plan to do in the future. I'm tired of being reactive.
Yeah, understood. So yeah, Scout and I can work on getting that posted. The plan will be to continue with virtual practices. Member Friz?
I'm here, Dr. Will.
Okay.
I'll drop.
No problem.
Yeah, so
And
the
then-
plan is to do the virtual practices. We'll continue that, and hopefully eventually everything will open up and we'll be able to go back to normal. And that's the goal here. So, but as you guys all said, we will definitely put that all that information on the website as well as the athletic website.
Any other board member comments or questions?
When can we see that on the website?
I can get the link up there in 10 minutes if we
So
have to do
later
it.
this
So,
evening, sounds like.
yeah, I can get it up there quickly
Great,
tonight.
thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, maybe pin it to the top too, so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
That's a good question. Dr. Whalen might have to work on that one.
Yeah, we can, on our website, we can, under news, we can pin the news for its, so it stays at the top. Scott, you and we can walk through, I'll walk you through that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Whalen, do you have any other?
Just the monthly financials. So thank you, Scott, for that
Thank you,
presentation.
everyone.
Appreciate it. Monthly financials take us through the end of December, January 1st. On a budget of just over $32 million in revenue, we've received through this time period $14.7 million, which is roughly 46.15%. On the expenditure end, a budget of $32.3 million, we've expended 13.8, which is 42.74%. So right where we would expect to be about halfway through the year, as expenditures lag a bit and our revenues are very near 50% at this point. And then fund balance recap very quickly. Again, we started the year at 12.9 million. And through the end of December, our fund balances were just over 14 million. So this will, then fund balance number will continue to erode slightly until the taxes begin to arrive again in February.
All right.
Any questions on?
Your next report, yeah, for our next meeting, could you work on doing a mirror image of if we were really in school compared to what we are now? What type of reduction in costs that we actually have? That way we can look towards doing a refund to the taxpayers.
I can make an estimate based
That's
on,
all I'm looking for. An estimate, just a general ballpark idea, because I'm sure our costs are a lot lower than they would have been if we were actually attending classes.
well, there are two primary areas of savings. One is transportation, and the other is food service. So we look at those two areas.
All right. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing where we're at and see what we could work on giving back to the community.
Really good idea, President Green.
Thank you.
Very good. Will do. Any other questions?
All right.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Is there any other questions? We had the one for you.
I think we just agree with your recommendation there, seeing what we can give back to the community. It's a great idea.
Yeah, so I'll have that report for you in at the February meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Whalen.
All right, thank you. FOIA report. We had one FOIA. They were requesting how much we get paid in our terms.
Correct. This comes out annually, and it's the Prairie State Wire sends out a FOIA request wanting to know when each board member's terms end and an email address and your salary, so which is 0.
Can you refresh my memory on the secretary's salary? Did we just, how did we end up doing away with that?
Well, the school code allows up to $500, and it's typically just donated back to the district. So that's been the history here, is that it just goes back to the district operations.
Is there a way we can just formalize it? So, Kevin, you don't mind not getting paid, right?
No, I'm okay
is
with
there any
that.
way we could just develop a policy so it just, we don't even have to worry about voting on doing a refund or anything like that in the future?
Yes, I have seen in some districts where the day that the board reorganizes, a note is made in the minutes that the secretary is donating all proceeds back to the district for operations. So we could certainly do it that way.
Okay. All right. I just that way it's not an issue down the road. Just another thing to be proactive about. I mean that has been the history. I donated back. Ms. Perikovic donated back. So that has been the practice. So Kevin, thank you for your time and your donations.
And we can, yeah, we'll definitely formalize that when we reorganize this May.
All right. After that, we had the consent agenda. Do we have any questions on that? If not, if we can have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Any second?
I'll second.
You're muted, Kevin.
Sorry about that. Motion made by member Frias, second by member Cahew. Is that correct? Did I understand that correct?
Yes.
Okay. For the approval of the consent agenda, roll call. Pacheco, yes. Cahew,
Yes.
Frias,
Yes.
member Leone, member Davis, Vice President Garcia,
Yes.
President Green.
Yes. All right. Whenever you're ready, just give me a thumbs up, all right? All right. Let's move on to certified and classified payrolls. We can get a motion in a second to approve the payment of $1,234,500.16.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Hey, President Green, I just want to confirm the amount is $1,234,500.16. Is that correct?
That's what I'm reading.
All right. Motion made by member, I'm sorry, you broke up there. Was that Garcia?
Yes.
Motion made by Vice President Garcia, second by me. Roll call. Pacheco, yes. Cahew,
Yes.
Frias,
Yes.
member Leone, member Davis, Vice President Garcia,
Yes.
President Green?
Yes.
All right. We're good.
All right. Next action item was the monthly bills in the amount of $287,121.20. If we can get a motion and a second.
Member Frias will motion.
Any seconds?
I'll second. So motion made by member Frias, second by member Pacheco for the approval of the monthly bills in the amount of $287,121.20. Let's do. Roll call. Pacheco, yes. Member Cahill.
Yes.
Member Frias.
Yes.
Member Leon. Member Davis. Vice President Garcia.
Yes.
President Green.
Yes.
All right. We're good.
All right. Now we're moving on to some non-action items. Board policy meeting. We need to set a date.
Yes, we have some revisions to review.
At this point in time, I'm looking at either a Tuesday or Thursdays this month, next month.
Okay. The other two members are Frias and Cahill.
I'm good with Tuesday or Thursday.
I think Tuesdays work better for me, and for next month would be optimal.
Meeting in February.
Yes.
Can we make February 2nd work? Be the day after the board meeting?
That'll
Sure.
work for me.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, yes.
Yeah, it works for me.
Okay. Member Cahill?
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
What are we looking at, like 6 or?
We can meet as early as you would like. If 6 works, if 5 is
Yeah,
better.
6.
6?
Yeah, let's do 6. I'm really pushing it. I was running into this meeting.
Okay.
All right. I'll send out a reminder as well as the packet, 6 o'clock on February 2nd, 2021, which is a Tuesday.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Board comments. Does any board member have anything they'd like to mention or anything?
I do actually. I was talking to Dr. Whalen prior to the start of the meeting that I think there needs to be more, unless I must have missed it, just notification to the community in terms of like when school was to resume. I was looking through the district website. I don't know if I did see the, what was it? The Teacher Institute Day, but I didn't see a start time for the kids. Is that accurate or am I missing that?
Yeah, I seen the same thing, and I actually received paperwork for one of my kids that actually said they started today. So yeah, that's another lack of communication. We need to make that a forefront of, hey, this is when school is active, not just when it's off, but this is with the days that we're active too.
Put the word out on Facebook also.
Does the school have like a call out, like, you know, where it's like a pre-recorded message to parents to let them know upcoming things, whether it's days off or, you know, changes and you know, anything in school?
There is the text blast.
Text blast, yeah. The phone blast doesn't work so well because we tend to receive a number of phone calls back because they haven't listened to the message. So texting is the better method to reach someone. We can still get that blast out this evening as a reminder.
Yeah, I mean, that would be very helpful because I know there, you know, with this the remote option that we're going through right now, I think a lot of the parents, whether they're traveling or they just, you know, they lost focus, you know, with this holiday break, just need to reassure that everyone is aware that, you know, the start time is tomorrow, correct?
Tomorrow, 7:50. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very helpful to receive something similar.
And we also see that Argo is going back to classes here shortly, so you might want to have something out there that, hey, yes, Argo is going back, but we're not going back at this point.
Okay. Put a letter to parents together.
Has anybody been following the CPS situation upon a return date for them?
I did read an article this morning that they were expected to start, teachers were expected to return to the classroom this week, the students next week, but I believe there is some pushback on that. So I'm not sure that's going to actually happen. A number of aldermen have expressed concerns as well as the teachers union. So
Yeah, we do have school districts to the south of us that have been open since day one. Not too far south of us. Payless, Oak Lawn. So I get where we're at, but we need to be proactive about it. Make sure that our parents aren't getting confused with what Argo's planning on doing, and establish what we're going to do sooner than later when we do feel it's safe enough to get the kids back. I don't know if you want to form a committee, or I think we should be moving on that now and not waiting until the last minute. When we did that walkthrough earlier in the summer, I think we all had some input that we could work off of to make things good for everybody.
Yeah, I happen to agree with that. We need to really be proactive and make sure that we're not catching any of our staff or any of these families off guard with, you know, with the decision that we're thinking, you know, in the upcoming future. I think the biggest obstacle right now is the current, you know, winter situation that we have to get kids back in the building. But, you know, definitely, like you're saying, there are, you know, a number of communities just south of us who have been in session since the beginning. And I mean, with having kids in the district, I definitely would love to, you know, see them go back sometime this year, with precaution, of course.
Yeah. Well, we were in the intending to get some surveys out this month so we can get the committees, call the committee back together to begin the process of looking at what makes the most sense based on the positivity rates, the data, the teachers' abilities to return, because they also have remote learners at home, as well as are providing care for adult family members as well. So we have to see where the stars align and what's the best date to shoot for to make that happen.
providing that information, Dr. Whalen. I think that data with positivity rates is key. And now I know we're seeing the influx of more COVID cases and hospitalizations.
Yes, it seems to be once again going back up. The number that the Lindbergh provided us today was a little over 11% positivity rate for the Summit community. So, which is lower than it has been, but it seems to be climbing again. So.
Are you also looking at Bedford Park and the Gardens?
We're only limited. I think they cluster them together. The best of my knowledge, they're not breaking them out. That they're not individualizing it by that much. When the NBC website and the IDPH website. So I can't say that they're breaking it out that detail.
All right. Yeah, we're seeing figures all over the spectrum. I think we did the right choice to what we're doing, but we do need to be ready to roll. I mean, I know people that have already got the vaccination, the first shot, and they're a couple weeks away from the second shot. So, and before you know it, some of our second tier are going to be getting the shot. So it's right around the corner here.
Yes, the time is right to begin planning for that reopening date, find a date. So we'll get that started.
All right. Yeah, my biggest thing is making sure that we're getting the communication out there. Just make sure the board members too that don't have kids in the district, or they got kids at one school but they don't have school at the middle school, or they got kids in the middle school and they don't have kids at the younger schools. To make sure that everybody's on the same page with the information that's going out.
Yeah, it's a continued goal to make sure that happens. It's a work in progress.
All right. Any other board comments? We do need to go into closed session. Dr. Whalen, you said we have a side room that we can go into.
Yes, so I'm going to open up a breakout room and pull the board members in. The rest of you who are joining us this evening are welcome to stay. We will keep the recording rolling. So it's just one upload. So you're aware that the meeting will still be recorded while we're away in the breakout room.
Okay. If we can get a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Chapter 102, Paragraph 2 of the statutes of the state of Illinois for the purpose of consideration of information and employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body litigation. You get a motion in a second.
I'll motion.
Number 3, yes.
A second.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. All right. Motion made by member Frias, second by Vice President Garcia. Roll call. Pacheco, yes. Cahill,
Yes.
Frias,
Yes.
Vice President Garcia.
She might have joined already.
Okay, and then President Green.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
All right, I'm joining.
Did I